Good evening, everyone. Welcome to my channel, our channel, Universal Businesses Limited Soulism and Spiritualism channel. Today, we're going to discuss more about the soul and spirit. We're going to discuss. Last time we talked about sound and sound effects and sound systems and how it affects the soul and spirit. We also discussed in the previous to the last broadcast about music and its musical abilities to elevate the soul and spirit. Today we're going to discuss now the freedom of the soul and spirit. The freedom of the soul and spirit is its main priority and goal and purpose. So the freedom of the soul and spirit is to liberate itself from the worldly environment that we are in existence. The worldly environment is what pollutes the soul and spirit, and to liberate it, it has to reduce its worldliness and connections with the world that we live in, because the world we live in presently is not a real world. It is a man's figment of imagination. He created this world. It's not the world that is of heaven, completely of heavenly copy. It is just a reflection of heaven, but not an exact duplication of heaven. And man has created an artificial world, an artificial planet, artificial nations, and that man himself is the restrictor of all freedoms and liberties in the world that we live in. Obviously, because we have seen through time various wars and conflicts. For instance, the Second World War with the Nazis, and the First World War with the communists. And today we're seeing the same replication of a communist war between Russia and Ukraine, because of the lack of freedom and liberty in this world that that the soul strives for, but unfortunately is limited by the leaders that we have in various nations. So we must understand that there are benefits of socialism and communism in the sense that it moderates the morals, it keeps the morals in check by not having excessive worldly possessions like the material worlds of the West. But the material worlds of the West also strive for happiness, wealth, and bliss. So there is more benefits to live in the Western world than there is to live in the Eastern socialist communist bloc. The thing is, the soul strives for freedom and liberty, and it is restricted by all these impositions from the various tyrannical governments that we have on earth. But there is hope at the end of the tunnel, because when the citizens of oppressed nations die, there is some form of liberation where they are free from the sufferings of an oppressive state. So even in the West, there is still presently some socialist and communistic oppression, and there is a depression coming from the governments of the West, even because the West also does not believe sometimes in complete, utter, and unrestrained freedom. and that is why we have worldly conflicts and conflicts within nations, and conflicts of between the rich and the poor, because the poor are always kept under and low because of the restrictions of their freedoms to liberate themselves into the realm, into the world of the wealthy and rich. Yes, even in the West there is oppression because the poor are oppressed in the world, in the West. When we say, okay, America is the land of the free and the American dream, well, that is true to a certain extent, but it is not completely true, because we must remember that America is also part of the worldly realm, and there is going to always be imperfections of freedom even in America. But America is striving for the best hopes of freedom, and it is probably the most liberated and free nation on earth. The socialist and communistic nations are trying to oppress the United States of America. So the souls and the spirits of those citizens in America are feeling a little bit restricted and tightened currently, because of the fear that there could be possibly a war between America and communistic and oppressive regimes in the world. And we also want to say this much, that even in the Islamic world there is some form of oppression, but you must understand that the Islamic countries, their view of liberty is their religion, and their religion is their liberty. So we must understand that different countries have different viewpoints of liberty for the soul and spirit. So the soul and spirit is a very complex system, and when freedom is mixed up with the soul and spirit, that's when its full potential arises. And remember, that is the whole purpose of reaching the full potential of the soul and spirit, so that it can raise itself to the heavenly realms of infinite structures. So infinite systems and infinite constructions. The purpose is almost like a scientific conclusion, that freedom is oppressed, so therefore the souls and spirits of people are also oppressed, because they do not have the opportunities to gain the power and the wealth to maximize their soul and spirit. So this is my religion. I created it. This is called Soulism and Spiritualism. It is about a liberation of the soul and spirit to attain its heavenly status. And remember, the heavenly status is infinite and boundless, and there is no end to heaven, and therefore there should be no end to the soul and spirit. And in order for it to merge with heaven, it must merge with the infinitism of heaven. So thank you all for visiting my channel, our channel this evening, Soulism and Spiritualism channel, my religion. I created it. You're most welcome to follow it. If there's any comments that you have, please leave them in the comments section. And I would appreciate if you subscribe to my channel, and also if you can make a donation of any amount. The more the better, because that will progress and keep my religion alive and going, and that's the whole purpose, because this religion cannot die. This is about the soul and spirit, which is an infinite structure, an unlimited structure, and it exists forever, and there is no destruction of the soul. The body dies, but the soul and spirit carries on, and it will always exist, no matter what whatever governments are in the nations that we presently have. So please subscribe to my channel, our channel, Universal Businesses Limited Soulism and Spiritualism channel. And also leave your comments, and please make a donation. and we'll meet in the next broadcast. And remember, we're planning to start a community where we can reside, a small enclave. We'll have our own religious buildings and our own religious constructions for those who share in our religion, my religion, the creator of this religion. And remember, you have the ability to become a god like me, and you shall become a god if you attain the full freedom and liberty that you deserve, so rightly deserve. And that is whole purpose: liberation and achieve godly status. And there is not only one God in heaven, but there are pluralistic God, but the main God is the creator, but there are other gods as well under the God of universal creation. So please subscribe to my channel and leave a donation, as it's the third time I'm requesting you. And I wish you all a good evening and good luck, and hope to see you in the next broadcast and sermon and lecture. Thank you, and remember, stay spiritually pure, stay spiritually focused, and stay spiritually infinite. Thank you.